5 smartwatches, 30 miles of testing, and one clear winner. Let's find out which one of these you can actually trust to track your workout. In my 10 years of reviewing smartwatches, I have never had to push myself as far as I did for this test. This is taking me back to my high school mile days, except I have to do this 30 times and with knee pain now. We've come a long way since those early days of step counting, but the stakes have gotten higher. Smartwatches now track calories, heart rate, location, sleep, and they can even alert us of more serious medical conditions. So accuracy matters. I can't test every single metric, at least not in one video, so I've narrowed it down to some of the key metrics that feed into all other fitness metrics. We're talking steps, distance, and most importantly, heart rate, because let's face it, if they can't nail the basics, what does it say about everything else? Let's meet our 5 contestants. For the athletes, the Garmin Venu 4 at $550. On the budget end, we have the Amazfit Fitbit 6 at $80, and the 3 heavyweights in the middle, the Apple Watch Series 11, the Samsung Galaxy Watch 8, and the Google Pixel Watch 4. Each one of these has passed my review, and each one has earned a spot on Cnet's best list. But for this particular test, we're going past the summaries and the first impressions. We're going deep into the data. It's test time. Sensor, clean, fit, snug, game face, on. 1 watch per test, tested more than once in different order to reduce as many variables as possible. Steps was the easiest. These watches have sophisticated motion sensors, so a regular pedometer just wouldn't cut it as our control. So I went analog and counted every single step myself, with this thing as my insurance plan when I would inevitably lose count. The first test, 1,000 steps. And this was way too close to call, so I went at it again with 2,500 steps. Sure, there were a few standouts, as you can see, but they were all within half a percentage point of the clicker, so I'd say it's a win across the board, meaning you don't have to spend $550 on a sport watch for good step counting. The $80 Amazfit is perfectly capable. For distance, I came to this college track. Each lap is exactly 400 meters. I even broke out my measuring wheel just to confirm. 4 laps around the track, 1 mile per watch, and at least 3 times each, just to be sure. Again, this was an impressively tight spread. The Apple Watch led, logging 0.99 miles for each one, and then the Garmin watch came in second. But all watches seem to come within 1/10 of a mile, which to me, again, says a lot about these watches. It seems like we've come to that point where accurate distance tracking is no longer a luxury feature. Now, I can't say what would happen when I take them out of this track, but for the purposes of this test, that's how it landed. Heart rate was the real tiebreaker and the hardest one to crack. This metric feeds everything else. We're talking calories, VO2 max, training intensity, heart rate variability, and if one number is off, that means everything downstream of it could be off as well. Our control was the Polar H10 chest strap, Cnet's top-rated heart rate monitor. Now let's break for a quick science lesson. Watches use optical sensors that shine light through your skin to detect blood flow. The Polar uses electrodes to measure your heart's electrical signal directly. So just by design, these are going to be a lot more accurate. So obviously I'm not expecting them to match the level of accuracy of a heart rate chest strap, but anywhere close would be impressive. For this I used the same test as for distance. 4 laps per watch, 3 miles each, not counting the repeats, and there were many. Yeah, that was totally off. And I can't remember if I actually cleaned the sensor, so I might have to do that one again. The first 3 laps, I ran at about 60% effort. Then the final lap, I went full speed. This to stress test at peak heart rate levels. Right out of the gate, they all struggled to jump from 0 to running pace. They eventually caught up, but only to be left behind again when I went full speed. The Amazfit, for example, never even registered my peak heart rate. But the workout summaries didn't tell the whole story. They only show averages or highs and miss the ramp-ups and the delays and everything in between that I could see happening in real time. What I needed was those second-by-second metrics and someone who actually knows how to interpret them all. Time to call in some backup. Gianmarco Ciumbe is Cnet's data engineer who helps run lab tests on all the products we get. But the hardest part of this whole test was actually getting that data out of the watches and into his hands. For the chest straps, it is 2 steps, and then clean spreadsheet, you're done. Amazfit, just as easy. Garmin lets you download that raw data, but it comes in a format that required a Reddit tutorial and a custom Python code just to convert. Apple, Google, and Samsung, they make you download your entire health history just to get one workout out. I'm talking 10 years in my case. Luckily, there's an app for that, at least for the Apple Watch. HealthFit lets you pull all your Apple Watch workouts by time frame. For Google, I had to dig through hundreds of folders before I finally found the right file. And for Samsung, I basically gave up and had to use Strava as a middleman to get the data. Accessing your own health data should not require a data engineer and days worth of work. I'm just gonna throw that out there. And if you ever wanna try this yourself, just join my support group. So which watch actually tracked my heart rate most accurately? This is the data Gianmarco mapped out. You can see how close each one got to the heart rate strap. All 5 watches came in under 8% error rate. For wrist-based optical sensors during real-world runs, that's genuinely impressive. But only one of these watches went under 1%, and here's where we separate the good from the best. That title went to the Apple Watch Series 11, just 1.4 beats per minute difference from the heart rate strap. It tracked nearly side by side with our control, even during moments when the other watches struggled. The Garmin Venu 4 has the same second-by-second data, just like the chest strap, so we can compare apples to apples. The Pixel Watch and the Galaxy Watch landed right in the middle. And the Amazfit posted the highest error rate at 7%. After 30 miles and 6 weeks of testing, this is where I've landed. If heart rate accuracy is your top priority, get the Apple Watch Series 11. It is hands down the most accurate across the board. Now, for Android fans wanting that similar level of accuracy, or data nerds who want that second-by-second data access, then the Garmin Venu 4 is the one for you. Gianmarco actually picked this one as his favorite, and he crunched the numbers. And for anyone on a budget, starting out in the fitness world, the Amazfit Bip 6 is such a bang for your buck that I can't help but recommend it too. Over 6 weeks, my VO2 max climbed from 41.3 to 45.8. Without all that data to guide me, I might not have known how much to push myself. If you want to nerd out on all this data, or if you want to go deeper on the methodology of how I tested each one of these watches, you can check out my full article on cnet.com and come back for more all things mobile. In the meantime, also let me know what other wearables you want me to stress test next and what kind of metrics you want to see put to the test.